devotees asked me a question about, is there some book or a pamphlet or whatever describing the nature, the philosophy, the goal, the philosophy, the sadhana, the conception of the different sampradayas.
Yes.
I mean, basically, as far as the Puranas go, there's 4 basic sampradayas, Vaishnava sampradayas, that are recognized in all throughout all the Mahajans and scriptures. And there may be sub-branches of those, or new, you can say, paramparas or whatever. I mean, those 4 sampradayas are the Vishnu Swami, the Sri Sampradaya, worshippers of Lakshmi, means Sri. Sri Sampradaya means worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan. Then they have a branch called Ramanandis. Ramanandis are a branch of Sri Sampradaya, and they worship Sita Ram. They want to go to Yodhya and Vaikuntha. And so then there's the Sri Sampradaya, then there's Kumar Sampradaya, the 4 Kumaras, the 4 Manasaputra, Lord Brahma. And the main acharya for that sampradaya, modern acharya, is Nimbarka. And they're called the Nimbarkis. But they're basically in Kumar Sampradaya. They worship Radha and Krishna and Hans Avatar. In the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, they worship Hans Avatar also. And then there's Sri Sampradaya, there's Kumara Sampradaya, there's Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. I think that's also called Rudra Sampradaya. Or maybe there's Rudra and Vishnu Swami. And then there's Madhva Sampradaya, which is, what's the original name of the Madhva? Huh?
Vallabha.
No. Madhva, Madhva, Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya is called the Madhvacharya Sampradaya Ramanuja, but Ramanuja means Sri. And Madhvacharya, I think Madhvacharya is Vishnu Sampradaya. There's wait. There's Lakshmi. There's 4 sampradayas. Sri Sampradaya. Then there's Kumaras, 4 Kumaras from Lakshmi. From Shiva, it's called Rudra Sampradaya and Vishnu Sampradaya. These 4. Vishnu, Rudra, 4 Kumaras, and Shri. There. Now, these other sampradayas, they're kind of madhvas, like what we say Gaudiyas, although if you go on internet or you go on any sites of the madhvas, which is not so much well known here and there, but scholars, Gaudiya Vaishnava scholars and godbrothers, etc., that are studying and aware of all these things, the madhva, although we link ourselves and join ourselves up with Madhva Sampradaya to establish our validity and to gain the worship of Govindaji in Jayapur when the Ramanandis or some other Sampradaya wanted to take the worship away from the Gaudiyas, saying we weren't bona fide. Baladev Vidyabhushani writes in Gorganadesh Deepika, and that same list of acharyas is also there in front of Bhagavad Gita. The parampara, Brahma to Narad, Krishna or Vishnu to Brahma, to Narad, to Vyasadeva, and comes on down to Madhavendra Puri and Madhvacharya, all that. So in Madhvacharya, we say, initiated Madhavendra Puri, and Madhavendra Puri initiated Nityananda and Advaita, then Nityananda and Advaita initiated everybody like this. Comes down to us, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we say we're Brahma. So the Madhvas, they say they're part of Brahma Sampradaya. Kumar, I guess there's Brahma Sampradaya means Kumaras, I forget, but the idea is, you'll understand that these are the original 4 sampradayas that are described in Puranas and other places. Vallabhacharya is only 500 years ago. Right. There was no Vallabhacharya. There's no Vallabha Sampradaya 600 years ago, or 700, or 800. But Nimbarkacharya, he lived 900,000 years ago, and he was the most recent, powerful, famous acharya of that Kumar Sampradaya, which is the Nimbark. Now it's called Nimbark Sampradaya after him, but he's actually one. As far as the 4, it's called the the Kumar Sampradaya. Okay, so the original name, and that's their Sampradaya is that, although it's become known as this. So we link ourselves up. We claim that we're, at least most Gaudiyas, claim that we're connected to the Brahma Sampradaya through Madhva. Madhva is the prominent acharya of the Brahma Sampradaya. Okay, so we say Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. And we say Brahma Madhva Gaudiya. So we're Gaudiyas. We actually are a fifth or sixth, whatever, Sampradaya. But it says in the Vedas there's only 4 Sampradayas. And if you're not initiated in one of these 4 Sampradayas, then you're Apa Sampradaya. You have no Sampradaya. They're not bona fide. So Vallabhas, I don't know which Sampradaya they're. I can't answer the question, because just like we say we're Gaudiya Sampradaya, and Narahari Chakravarti has a book in English, famous book called Bhakti Ratnakara. And in Bhakti Ratnakara, chapter 5, it's called Mathura Mandala Prikama. It's all about Mathura Mandala. It was printed as a separate book. And chapter 5 of Bhakti Ratnakara, Narahari Chakravarti Thakur says that actually the members of the Gaudiya Sampradaya are a 5th Sampradaya. And we think of ourselves as the Nimai Sampradaya. I really like that. It's in the Bengali and Sanskrit also. Nimai Sampradaya. But somehow the Baladev Vidyabhushan in his writings and other acharyas, and even our guru and Advaita Parivar and others, Nityananda Parivar, they link up the Gaudiyas with the Madhvas. But as I said, if you go on internet, which most people don't look into, but the Madhavas flatly deny, the Madhvacharyas, the gurus from Udupi, the Madhvas flatly deny we have nothing and zero connection to do with the Gaudiya Sampradaya. We don't accept, first of all, we don't accept Lord Chaitanya as God. He's a Bengali saint. We don't accept Krishna Vrindavan, and we don't accept Radharani. She's an Apsara. She's not the origin of Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the origin of anybody, and Vishnu is the origin of Krishna. Not the other way around. You Gaudiyas, acharyas, you give your tikas and commentaries on the Bhagavatam to say that Krishna is the origin of Vishnu. Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. But everyone else, at least everyone in our Sampradaya, beginning with Madhva, has proven through Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam proves that Vishnu is the origin. He's original, and Krishna's 8th avatar. So they don't accept our Ishtadev as Radharani and Krishna. They reject. They don't accept Lord Chaitanya. They reject. They don't accept that Vrindavan is the goal. They reject. So their sadhya is different, their sadhana is different, and their param gati is different, and their mantras are different. They don't have Kam Gayatri. They chant Gopal mantra, not Kam Gayatri. And their sadhya is Vaikuntha, and our sadhya is Goloka Vrindavan, and their sthai rati is Dasya Rati. You understand? Das. I am a Das. And our sthai rati is Madhura Rati. I am a Gopi. I am a Manjari. So everything different. But somehow it's going on. It's still going on since 500 years at all the various. No one has. The 6 Goswamis, they didn't break that tradition by saying actually we're really a 5th Sampradaya, and we have our own. We have an independent Upasana, an independent Upasya, an independent mantra, an independent Ishtadev. Everything different. So that's what it takes to make a Sampradaya. You know, what's the difference in Sampradaya? It's the sthai rati, it's the Ishtadev, it's the mantra, it's the param gati. So that's how you compare and contrast different Sampradayas. Now, the Vallabha, just like we have the Shamananda Sampradaya, Narottam Sampradaya, they call it like that. Narottam is Gaudiya. It's a branch of Gaudiya. And Shamananda is a branch of Gaudiya. Like you have ISKCON or Gaudiya Math, they're like some kind of Neo-Gaudiya movement with different tenets and different beliefs, and different ideas than Shamananda or than Narottam or than Advaita Parivar. The Advaita Parivar, the family lineage of Advaita or Nityananda. So these other Gaudiya Vaishnavas, their philosophy, although we say we're Gaudiya and Gaudiya Math and ISKCON say they're Gaudiya also, and of course they are, everyone is, but they have different views and different ideas. In some ways. Mostly there's pretty much agreement. Everyone agrees in Radha and Krishna and Goloka Vrindavan, Hare Krishna mantra. And the Madhvas, you can't get initiated unless you're a Brahmin. And not only a Brahmin, and you can't get even Diksha unless you're an Indian Brahmin, born Brahmin. And you can't get liberated or go to Vaikuntha unless you're a sannyasi. And you're, of course, have prema. Perfect. So, and only a Brahmin can take sannyas. So that leaves out a lot of people, like us, all of us. And anybody, and any Shudra, and any Baniya, they can't be Madhvas. So there's actually nothing in common. There's actually nothing in common with the Gaudiya Sampradaya and the Madhva Sampradaya. Nothing. So how are we Madhvas? We're technically, somehow officially or politically or diplomatically, the Six Goswamis and Baladev, they included us in with them for various purposes, which I explained some already, and that's continued to the present day. No one has tried to step out and say no. It's because we really, if you look at the world, we don't need to depend. It's like if you're a small man, you want to be linked up with a big man because you need his protection, you need his influence. No, I'm with the big man. Oh, you're with the big man. Oh, come with us. But as far as the Gaudiya Sampradaya is the biggest among Indian, Vaishnava movements. The Gaudiya Sampradaya is the biggest in the world. How many Madhvas are there? There's a few smart, intelligent people in Russia that have converted. They've left Gaudiya Sampradaya and they've gone to the Tattvavadis. Maybe you know of them. I don't know, but they're preaching quite vigorously in Russia because Russians, that's where it's at. Anybody wants anything spiritual or anybody wants to be a guru, they go to Russia. That's just the way the world is. What can we say? Krishna's wish, or whatever their adhikar. I don't know.